Thank y'all for tuning in to this sit down. I got a very special guest. We talked, we sat down last week, went over some things, but I'm for let him introduce himself. Give him a shot, Ron.
It's good to see you all. My name is Ron Sepulvado II. I'm an executive and high performance mastery coach. I've been working with high performers like CEOs and professional athletes like that for about over a decade now. And that's been my profession so far. It's been really enjoyable. And I'd say I've learned through this practice a lot of secret and just hidden truths about behaviors. That's pretty much why I've come to a premium at this point, is how I can offer these things to people. And so I choose the best leaders I can find to make sure I can put these lessons toward.
So before I get into some questions, he on the cover of his magazine. I can't really pronounce the name or whatever, but Ron, get into a little bit about the magazine and how did this magazine create? How did it get created?
So as far as this magazine itself is Excellion, I'm not sure exactly how long they've been in production. I haven't checked myself, but they reached out to me a couple months ago, almost at the start of the year, and asked me if I wanted to be featured in this in a cover piece, that was really surprising to me because for the most of my career, most people did not know me, and that was kind of by choice. I was like, I kept low profile on purpose, and so the fact that these guys found out about me was pretty impressive. I don't know if it was one of my earlier clients like that maybe reached out to him and mentioned it, but you can tell as soon as I was interested in learning more about it, the questionnaire they sent me where they wrote the 8-page bio on was very intensive. Like they did research on me and understood. And I was like, okay, these guys are really serious about this. And so yeah, so once I learned how serious they were and interested in making this, I was on board. And so now I'm on the cover of Excellion for was it May 2026.
And this actually my first time having a special guest on the show, like Ron or whatever, because I never really been in the room with individuals that's on the cover of a magazine. So this actually my first really special guest, and I'm kind of not nervous, but I'm actually happy about it because now I can actually give more of my followers more guesses and actually special guest. This is not just a guest, this is a special guest. And I really appreciate Ron giving me some of his time to even come on the podcast. He didn't have to, but he actually made time to come on, sit down with me, and talk. So we're going to get into a brief history of his background. So, Ron, it showed that when you graduated, you didn't want to go to college.
That's correct.
Because you didn't want to put the wrong stress on your parents. So at the high school, what hats you wore and what roles did you learn from the most?
In high school, I would say,
What high school did you go to?
so I went to Houghton High School. So that's in Louisiana. It's a small town called Houghton that's outside of Bossier City near Shreveport. It's also the same high school that Dak Prescott came from. I actually played football with his older brother Jace before he passed away.
So like looking on TV that you went to high school with a professional athlete, like did y'all have the same class together? Did y'all happen to bump into each other? Like how interesting is that? Like how do that make you feel that you actually went to school with somebody that's in the league right now?
So it was funny because we kind of knew, everyone knew from the beginning. Look at that family. The whole Prescott family is like they were born athletes. Like their oldest brother Tad, he was like, yeah, he was a step above. He was the oldest of the brothers, and you could tell, I was like, this guy's gonna go places. And their brother Jace, he was like 6'4" or 6'5", almost 300 pounds in the sixth grade, and so he was an absolute monster. His nickname was the Moose, and so it was one of our big plays was like you could hand Jace the ball and he would jog it through because there's not enough guys in the other team to stop him from going to it. But as far as Dak goes, it was we all knew he would still make it, but at the same time, it's like when you saw him, because I think I was a senior when he was a freshman. That was a sophomore. By the way, he was such compared to his brothers, he was really scrawny and small, and so you almost like you could still see the athleticism coming into him, but it was still kind of funny in comparison to his brothers. It's like he's a scrawny little shit. Like he'll get there, I'm sure, but like we can't see it at the moment.
So like the Louisiana culture, because y'all have not just athletes, y'all have good artists. movie stars, things of that nature. So, um, get into the Louisiana culture because I never been there, but I actually want to go visit and get a taste of it myself.
Oh, it's fantastic. So I've lived in a lot of places. I was born in Panama, and I've lived as far as Alaska, and I've been like all over the country, for all kinds of different reasons. But for the most part, Louisiana has the best food you'll ever have in your life. It is incredible, and it's not just the food of the place. It's also like just being in proximity. Like it's weird to say this,
Yeah.
but like a Taco Bell in Louisiana tastes better than Taco Bell somewhere else.
Yeah.
But overall, it's like you're gonna find just this quality of food there that you're not gonna find anywhere else. If you find a nice hole, it's always the holes in the wall, the shack somewhere that no one doesn't have a title anywhere, somewhere in New Orleans. That's the place that's owned by some old grandma, and she's gonna make the best food you've ever had in your life.
Speaking of New Orleans, like how close from where you were raised at and where you went to school at, how close is the area that you rose up at in New Orleans?
So we're about as far as it can be. So I'm in the northwestern area of Louisiana. I'm maybe about 3 hours away from Dallas, Texas. So as far as New Orleans goes, New Orleans is all the way at the bottom near the southeastern area near the ocean, and so it's about I want to say about a 6 to 8 hour trip if you want to drive there.
Oh,
So the distance there is pretty far. It's about as far as the state can be, and you're going to be passing through all the major cities like Baton Rouge and Monroe and stuff like that to get to there. And so that's it's definitely a nice. It's a smaller state compared to most of the states. Like it's among all the states, they all have like the kind of block aspect.
mm-hmm.
Louisiana has that really odd, weird shape to it, and so it's like most things are pretty close to each other. I could when I was younger, I'd say 6 to 8 hours was probably an impossible trip, but nowadays it's like I can make the trip in my sleep at the point.
So we gonna like go back to the high school
Hmm.
um, atmosphere, or whatever. So in high school, like how good was y'all high school? Cause I know over here in Florida, we big on when it comes to football. Like how big y'all are on football. I know y'all big on the sports or whatever, but how big are y'all on football?
Huge. It's huge. It's about as huge as anywhere else. Like especially like the South has always been huge for like high school football, but our area especially because in the town of Houghton, that's kind of all they really have. It's a very small town,
Mm.
and so football was their big thing. They even have we were the Houghton Bucks, so we're the Buccaneers, and the gas station that comes out in the middle of the Houghton town is even called Buck Stop. And so there was a lot of aspects around the entire high school about the football, and we were pretty good. I would say my freshman year of playing football for the Bucks, we went undefeated, and I want to say sophomore year we also went undefeated as well. We were the big contenders of that area of Louisiana.
Did you what position you played? Because I hear that you saying that you mentioned the we, so I'm pretty sure that you was involved with the football thing too.
Mm.
So what positions you played?
I
Did
was
you get a scholarship on football? Or did you get a scholarship in academic?
No, I got no scholarship in any kind of direction. So I actually stopped playing football early on. Like freshman year was the year I was really big into it, and I joined in. And I was an outside linebacker. And that was my so I was, but I was actually more scrawnier than this. I wasn't as filled as I was now. I probably would have been an inside linebacker if I was more filled out. But that was my main position was outside linebacker, and I was like second string. Like I wasn't really a main or anything. I wasn't anything important. If anything, I just felt like being on the team made me the lucky guy. That's why we always won our games. So.
Okay.
But I stopped playing sophomore year and junior year to catch other things. Like I was also interested in bowling. I was on the bowling team for a little bit there too, and I'm intended to go back to football in senior year, but then that year two people approached me for positions that were needed. One was from band, and I never intended to be in band, but I was friends with everyone that was in band. Excuse me, and the director says I really need a spot filled for this year. Like you, and since we know you, like, could you fill that spot? And I'm the kind of guy that's like, if someone asks me to do something, I was like, yeah, I want to be that useful guy that does it. And so I foregone being in a football that senior year to go be in band and hold this position. But I was also approached to be the school mascot that same year too, because I'm a fun guy. And so that kind of ended up being the 2 pointer here is like instead of playing football, I was both the mascot and I was in band. So I'd swap spots. And during games, it was rough because I'd go out and do the march. I'd come back, I have to change my outfits.
As I was reading the magazine and they was giving us a brief history of your background, how you knew life coach was your calling?
And so funny. So I'm gonna go a little backstory about the magazine there. I when they asked me to write down kind of like my history through this questionnaire, I wrote like everything. I put my almost kind of the whole story just to get the gist of it. And then when I finished, I went to submit. They says they wanted an 1,800 word limit, and I had like 5,000 words. So I was like, I have to cut this down a lot. So I actually did, and so I'm glad you asked me that question because there's a lot of aspects that were missing in here
Mm-hmm.
that will be kept up, that can be picked up in here.